So last week we talked about this idea of 20HX, a potential future in competitive Halo 5 where everybody hits the hardest tech skill flawlessly 100% of the time. And like I said, inspiring that revolution are players like Shotzzy, who is still using the spring jump in ways that nobody even goes for in competitive Halo. So let's watch some more Shotzzy. I'm going to showcase just a couple of those spring jumps, and I'm going to reveal what might be some of Shotzzy's practice routine and how he improves his movement. Let's dive in. Here's how to get from the bottom to the top of Eden in just a couple seconds. Shotzzy's going to make his way over to Top Cat. He'll shift his focus to the blue window to take out the opposing player, but gets shot from Top Cat, is forced to back down, narrowly escaping with his life. Watch how he gets back to Top Cat in this instance, jumping up to the box, bouncing his head off the roof to set up a spring thrust clamber to get back to Top Cat and take out an opposing player in the process. Let's go back and see what exactly he did. From that initial starting point, he's got two main options to get up to the Top Cat. Here he can sprint, jump, thrust, hold, crouch, activate, stabilize, and clamber up to Top Cat, or he can get up the way that he did, jumping off the wall, jump, thrust to Top Cat. In a situation like this should be completely free. The opposing player isn't even looking at him, but despite that, you need to be confident in yourself, be patient with your shot, focus directly on the opposing player, and flick that aimer into him. And remember the auto aim that you have, keeping that auto aim centered on the opponent, and using after that, it's a combination of prediction and reaction, using prediction and understanding that this opposing player is flying to the right. With that information, you can better prep your brain to react and make those fine-tuning adjustments with the right stick just to flick it to the right and take out that opposing player. Now, he takes shots from multiple angles here, and he's one shot. And typically when you're one shot, if you sprint, you reset the timer on the shield, so your shield is going to come up later, essentially. But there are certain instances where it makes sense to sprint just for a split second if it puts you in a better vantage point, just like that, to get behind that wall, knowing that there's a player on the blue window there who's looking for him. Getting behind that wall makes him much harder to accurately hit with a grenade. So really smart from Shotzzy, making that tiny adjustment just to get behind the wall and stay alive. And we all know that if you want to spring jump, you need to jump, hold crouch, land on the floor in crouch, and then you're ready to spring jump. But it doesn't matter how high you are or how far you fall to land on the floor in crouch. You could be off just like a little step and land in crouch, and you're still good. You're still ready to spring jump. So in a situation like this, knowing that this roof is jutting outwards, you can bounce your head off of it and hold crouch while you bump your head so that you land on the floor in crouch. Now he can spring. So that's such an intelligent way to take advantage of the environment around you to set up a spring jump. There's so many other scenarios in maps where you can do this as well. So gets a really fast spring jump set up, and then he can spring, thrust, hold crouch, activate, stabilize, and clamber up to Top Cat just in a matter of seconds. That's very hard to pull off. You got to be very confident in your spring jumps to make that work, and then every other movement is happening a fraction of a second after that initial spring jump. So takes out this opposing player, and he can make his way back across the map, moving on to the next clip. This entire sequence is the definition of 20HX. Shotzzy's going to fall down, take out the first player with the shotgun, thrust slide forward to the yard. Now look for two springs in this clip as he moves up on the hallway, takes out the first player with the pistol. He'll thrust slide, scope in the shotty for maximum damage to get that double kill and a killing frenzy, so you already know he's on a tear. Now here's the first spring. Off the floor, spring jump up to top yellow. Now watch this, bounces off a sign, well applying pressure, he'll jump, bounce off a second sign, clambers up, continues to shoot this player with a double beat down to take him out. Now jumps up to the window, spring jump number 2, spring, thrust up to top yellow, apply pressure on this opponent in the yard. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, dude, he takes out the second player for a double and flies forward, and he'll get averaged by the third player. But what the heck? I know this is matchmaking, but this would be fucking incredible in HCS. Okay, so let's start from the beginning here. He'll shotgun this player, drop down. He'll thrust slide over. Now notice how he uses the stabilize to get just a little bit farther on this thrust slide to make it over to the jump here. He'll sprint forward, take out the first player, thrust slide, scopes in with the shotgun. Remember, scoping in with a shot, he gives you the extra range, extra damage in this scenario, so he can hit that player and then switch his weapons instantly. Shotzzy claws his controller to hit that Y button. You can also use a paddle to switch weapons instantly as well. He'll take out that player, jump back, toss a nade. Now this jump that he does is very purposeful. He's setting himself up for a spring jump while applying pressure. That's the beauty of something like a spring jump, is you can toss a nade and use that jump to prep yourself so that he lands perfectly here in a position where he can still reach top yellow with that spring jump, just like that. So all of this is happening, this fluid movement sequence. Now, I love this too, because in this scenario on top yellow, if you jump to try to get over to that bridge, you'll bump your head on the roof above you. So it's not really a smart idea to jump because it cancels all your momentum. But right here, Shotzzy knows if he just falls while hugging the wall, he'll briefly land on a sign that he can bounce off of with a second jump. So he doesn't lose any momentum in this process while maintaining this level of elevation. He can still apply these shots. Now, I thought he was going to spring jump here in my head when I watched this. I figured he'd spring to get perfectly up into that window, but he is a step ahead. You don't even need to. You just jump and land on a second sign right here, and the moment you land on it, you can jump off of it again and maintain that momentum forward, turn his focus, because that player ran away. It would be dumb to chase at this point. He knows there's a player over to his right here clambering up. He can fire shots. He has his thrust back. In this scenario, he hits him 3 times, 3-shot beatdown opportunity. Actually, he hit him twice regardless. In that second beatdown, when you beat down an opponent first, that second one, if you can jump in between and land the second beatdown, I find that it makes you more successful in winning those engagements. By jumping, it puts you out of the line of fire of their follow-up beatdown, and it makes it harder for them to instantly hit you back. So try jumping after the beatdown so you can apply the second one quickly. Jumps up to the window. Now this is perfect. If he wants to maintain his momentum, he could hit the floor, sprint, and then jump and clamber up to top yellow. But why do that in 20HX? You can spring, thrust, and stabilize and perfectly get up here. No clamber necessary. Now he's up on top yard. He can look at these players and apply pressure, jumps off of the sign to his right to keep that level of elevation while cutting off the angle of the player who's on yard, if he was even looking at him in this instance, but fires the shots into that player to take him out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's nuts. The fact that he hit those shots, that's all confidence. That's all just knowing that you are better than that player and practicing and practicing and practicing in octagon and in all just scenarios, 1v1s, 2v2s, whatever you can do to build up that shot and believing in yourself. I'm telling you, man, Shotzzy is one of the most confident players in the game, and that's why he hits those shots. I mean, it's also why he dove forward and got killed here. He probably wanted a triple kill, but either way, incredible plays throughout. This is the pinnacle of Halo 5. This is what I want to see from all pro players. So it's abundantly clear that Shotzzy has mastered the movement mechanics in this game, so much so that he's practically rewriting the meta on how to get around these maps more efficiently. So how is he doing it? What's the difference maker that he's applying that's allowing him to get around these maps so confidently and so effectively? Well, honestly, I think Shotzzy just likes doing his homework. I think he likes grinding these maps by himself and practicing optimal jumps and routes until he has mastered them to a T, because you can see this right here when you watch him jump around this map. This is somebody who has definitely practiced this, who is definitely confident moving around this map. He knows his way in and around all the little nuances here. He's going to spring, thrust, clamber up to get up to that spot right there. He must love the grind too, honestly, because you have to enjoy doing this. It can't feel like work, and you'll improve so much more quickly if you can learn to love this process of grinding and getting better at these movements. So spring jump up to tower 2, that's a crucial one. He's going to jump over here. This is another spring jump, a little less optimal, but it's obvious Shotzzy's been applying like everything he can. But spring, thrust, hold crouch, activate, stabilize, mash, crouch, and you can get above tower 2, and then you can jump up here and bounce off the wall here, which is pretty incredible. And you can probably, sneak up on a player who's coming out of tower 2 as well. This one right here, there's a little elevation on the floor, small point of elevation there. He's gonna time a thrust perfectly and fly off of it, activate, stabilize, hold crouch, mash that crouch to maintain peak height, and then he can clamber up. This next one, I mean, I don't know if it's optimal, but it's clear he's practiced this. This is one way to get from trenches. You can spring, thrust, hold crouch, activate, stabilize, and mash that crouch. He misses the jump. I've seen him land it before. You can spring off those boxes to get up to top rail. There's so many different areas. Thrust to get up to top tower. Now this one, I could never imagine a scenario where somebody would go for this and it would make sense to go for this just because it reveals you completely to the entire map. But sprint, time a thrust perfectly, you'll fly off. I think it's the pipes. Honestly, I haven't applied that jump before. You guys in the comments, I'm sure there's some of you who know how to do these jumps and can explain it accurately, but this right here, you can jump, thrust into the wall, and bounce off this area here. He's going to miss it, but you can bounce off that above tower 2, which is also pretty nuts. Just so many different things that he knows and can apply just instantly without, you know, a second thought. But these barrels here too, you can manipulate the hell out of the barrels. If you thrust off of them perfectly, you'll fly super high in the air, and you're going to see that in a second here. As he sprints at it, jumps, thrust, flies way up in the air, and you can snipe people or whatever. This is how, if you watch Little Black Bubba, this is how he escapes the map in some of his jumps, which are pretty crazy. And honestly, the barrel ones we know aren't as optimal to go for. You have to set it up, so it doesn't make sense. But this is literally it. This is how he practices and improves his jumps and his mechanics around these maps. And it's not just improving this, but understanding that, you know, this gives you the ability to move around quickly and get into battles quickly, but then your reticle placement needs to support that as well. Your shot needs to support that as well. You have to always be ready for engagements. Even though you're moving around the map at lightning speed, you always need to be prepared, and Shotzzy is somebody who has this. Check out spring jump right there. You don't even need to clamber, and you can just hold this spot right here and apply pressure. There's so much shit that this guy's doing, and you could jump, thrust into the wall, bounce off of this, which, you know, maybe a little less optimal, but he can stay up there for a long period of time and then land back down on the lookout and apply pressure. This is nuts. You can thrust slide, shoot that, grab the camo while you fly by. I've never attempted that one before, but that'd be a pretty sick way to get the camo as well. Just everything the guy's applying is just, there's a lot of new, interesting shit here that a lot of people don't know about. So this is the kind of stuff we got to grind, guys. So the question is, will you grind, and will you join me on the grind as well? Because I know I said on Twitter, I had some announcements I was going to make this week. The big one is that I'm going to start live streaming tomorrow, so Friday, on twitch.tv/theshyway. You guys can check me out on a live stream. All the information about this will be in a separate video that's coming out later today. So stay tuned if you want to know when I'm streaming, what I'm talking about, all the details in a separate video you can find out there. This is my first time live streaming, guys. I hope I get a warm welcome. I hope it's a good time. I hope this is a great opportunity to build the community and connect with you guys a little bit more. So really excited about that. You might have noticed I got an overlay above me, super slick, super simple. I love it. I want to know what you guys think of the overlay so far as well. Big shout out to OFSReagle, who put in so much work helping me out with this and with the thumbnails. The guy is doing an amazing job. He has a YouTube channel as well. You can check it out in the description of this video and learn some amazing advanced Halo jumps from him as well. Guys, we're kicking off a new era here. We got a live stream. We got more content. I hope you're excited. I know I am too. Stay tuned for later today.